right? Who's seen this inside plants? Yeah. So Fibonacci is from everything. So if you understand that there's key psychological levels to trading, if we understand that the banks, the governments, the hedge funds move the markets, they're also controlling certain parts of the world, the universe, yada, 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 it makes perfect sense. Like you've got shells that are like it. Like you've got the tongues of lizards, everything. Like what's also the geometric patterns of tornadoes, weather. Everything is there and designed in such a way, yet we're not taught and conditioned in a way to think and look like normal people. We're farmed and factured to be worker bees that don't ask questions, that don't think, that don't start to question why the world is doing. Why did 11 years worth of rain drop in the sunniest place in Spain? Yeah. How? It's not humanly possible to do that. However, it is to be orchestrated to do that. Just so happens that they told people that if you leave the UK 2 weeks before that, you're going to start to incur taxes. You're going to start to get fined when you leave. So the next easiest place to go is where? Spain. So guess what happens? Floods, panic, fear, don't want to go there anymore, don't live there, this. So if you start to tie all of this into how, and again, this isn't trading related. This is why I say to you, 5% is charts. 5% is buying and selling. You understand how the day-to-day goes. We delete all of this off. The key Fibonacci sequences are 61.8. 61, 71, 79, 89. These get respected like clockwork. So what is the next imbalance zone at? 89%. So if we know that in these key areas, 71% is the next imbalance zone. So when you start to see this, you can start to look for the longer term plays. So then you start to put sell positions on, and you're just holding these trades based on understanding market conditions. So then we have targets down here. Stops above the high. Targets down there. You set them trades, you forget about them. I'm going to print screen this actually because they're the positions that I would personally take. So that there, you then jump down onto a smaller time frame. And this is how you get what I like to class as sniper entries, because now that imbalance zone's not there, look, at 71%. It's only on the daily. Where's the next imbalance zone on the 4 hour? Here, right? So now, this is where jumping down time frames can really help with trading, because you started on the daily, you got your overall analysis, structure was broken, so you've got low, broken, high, still intact. So now, if this trade comes up here, and it breaks above here, we're going to see this, into this, into this. So you get used to seeing that same pattern over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. And all it is training your eye to see the trade. So once you can do that, and you can start to see patterns, you can start to see things happening on purpose, the banks aren't putting their money in willy-nilly. They're not putting their positions on just by chance. They're doing it to make a hell of a lot of money. So if we base that off of this, and we can start to see them things happening over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, why are we not taking them? So that's where I want to start bringing this back in a little bit more from me. I've started doing a lot more chart work again. Like this, I think this is the first time I've effectively marked up a chart from all of the stuff that I put in. But it makes me realize how people make money in this game. Like there's a guy that I follow on social media, and he's just taken $100 to $1 million in 3 months. What? 3 months.
Is that just that sold $100?
Yeah.
Not putting any extra money in?
No, $100. But this is what he didn't like. He was transparent with this. Trade one, 100% risk. He turned that into £400. Trade two, 100% risk. Because again, we're not asked if we lose £100. He's got money. So for him, this is a psychological thing of showing people how to get there, and it's possible. Trade two, 100% risk. Trade three, 100% risk. He took 400 to 3,000, 3,000 to 27,000, 27,000 to 80,000, then lost 48K. because he risks 50%. Once he starts to get to good money, he'll put 50% risk on. For us, we're doing 50% risk and not having the long-term play. So if you can put all of that and the moving pieces in it, where eventually it starts to come and you start to get into good money, you start to see the longer-term play, and you start to see the risk to reward coming up, because now on the 4 hour, if we see that that was the last up candle there, delete all this off. This bit here was the last up candle before the down move that broke this level. We can see and wait for price to come up here to respect. Because if it breaks this high, it's going up here anyway. So you could literally put a sell position on from here. Oops, it is. Stop loss above that high. Target back down to low. That's a 40 to 1. Chuck a tenner on it, you've made 400 quid. £100 on it, you've made 4 grand. But then what happens is the trade will do what it does here. So you imagine replicating ghost feed. You imagine replicating that. Why is that coming up on there? That's bars pattern. You imagine replicating that to do exactly what this bit's done here. So then guess what happens? Trade comes down, sell position, stop loss above high, target down to the low. Trade break structure, again here. You could have another sell position on there. This is just obviously hypothetically on this one, so you can't see it. Before you know it, one move has got 40 to 1, 29 to 1, 4 to 1. But you might be like, Brad, that's easy to predict when you can't see what's coming. But you can do that based on what happens over here. If we go to the daily time frame, and we start to look here, look, this is just a quick zoom in, imbalance, price breaks, the high here, look, ever so slightly, comes back down, collects its money, adios. So you get used to seeing the same thing happening, pattern, 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 pattern. You put in there the Fibonacci sequences, you put in there the things that are going on, support and resistance, zones, break and retest, support, resistance, everything. It sounds very, very basic because it is. And that's why discipline and things like that come into the trading space. And that's why 96 to 99% of the people lose in trading. It's because it's designed for you to think quick. You're not going to be patient and sit here for 2 months.
No. Not happening.
I'm not. But then what we can then do is jump that down onto the much smaller time frames and start to look for exactly the same, but in smaller time frames. Okay? So if we look anywhere around here, imbalance zone there, ever so slightly, before structure was broke. So again, you could wait for the trade to come back up. That might only take you a couple of hours. But again, like, I want to teach you guys to train your eye to see this. There's perfect, look at that. Look, previous low, previous high, price break structure. So you have your up, down, up, then new low. It doesn't have to always be pretty, but you get used to seeing the same thing happen over and over again. So when you put all of that into play and you can start to run it all together, that's where then you're not having to catch 100% of the move. You're not having to catch the same parts of the trade over and over again. Did that help anyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm going to put in the boot camp.
Good.
Because 40,000. Let me see where have I put my clicker. There it is. So now we know that, like, yeah. And what will start to happen is you'll start to have your own style of trading eventually. Like, I don't want you guys to just be fucking lemmings all the time where you're just placing trades willy-nilly and you're not knowing what's going on. So like if you can get to that point where you understand the trades, you understand support resistance, you understand the psychology and the mindset based around it, then when we look at your financial thermostat, this might, I'm just gonna have a sip of water. Not that anyone needs to know that, but. So when you look at this bit here, who here has typically worked the same job for a long time, like last 4 to 5 years? Okay. Price-wise, income-wise, growth-wise, has anyone seen an influx in their money, growth? Only recently. So what I've typically seen is unless you own a business and something happens with that business, then you will say, I don't want to say steady Eddie, but you will, the job will pay you enough to keep you there, right? It'll pay you enough to keep the lights on, the mortgage paid, the pets fed, and your kids fed, right? So you don't start to question enough as what's going on. But then we'll do overtime at work. Who here loves doing overtime? You do. You love it, yeah? Fucking liar. I'm joking. It's good. That's it. It's good money. So he's not necessarily doing it because you love the job, right? To an extent. Am I right? Am I wrong? You can be honest.
My job's all right.
Okay.
I'm like my own boss, but
Perfect.
I've got a boss.
Yeah. So like with this, people will do overtime because it makes them more money. So then what happens is, let's say you're used to making 3K a month and you're consistently making that, minus bills, everything like that, you're making X. But then what happens is you'll have, I don't know, you might have a football bet that goes well on weekend. You might have a horse that wins. You might put a little bit of money in roulette, whatever it is, or you do some extra overtime. You do an extra 20, 30 hours in the month. You get paid a little bit more. Or you win on pools. Is that still a thing? Pools? I don't know. Maybe not, what is it now? Is it postcode lottery? That's it, what everyone's having a little stab on. So you have a little go on something and you make a little bit of money. The money comes in and you think, shit, I've had a big month this month. Like I've gone from 3K to 4K. So in your head, that's an extra 33%. But then what happens is all of the stuff that you're talking to yourself about, because like while I'm talking right now, there's 3 conversations going on. There's me to you, me, and you and yourself. You guys are thinking, what the fuck's this guy talking about? I ain't got a clue, right? So you're having them conversations happening all the time. So if we know that, and what we're saying to ourselves, what we're talking about on a day-to-day basis is why we're in the same position that we are. Because if we understand and we think how, you know, Andrew Carnegie, Dale Carnegie and all the other guys that have done all of the stuff in the past that have wrote Think and Grow Rich, that, you know, have done, because everything's to do with thinking. Everything that we want, this was previously someone's thought. This was someone's thought. Like, eventually planes was someone's thought. It all had to manifest somewhere to begin with, but what we end up doing, because of the TV, the news, the radio, everything like that, we condition ourselves to stay broke based on what we listen to and what we speak about. So when you look at the formula for failure, it's basically a few errors in judgment repeated every single day, and some may ask why we repeat them every day. It's because failure doesn't occur at the end of the first day. It doesn't. They're subtle. Like, who here is a dress size up? I am. I'm a couple of dress sizes up, right? Certain things don't fit anymore. That's because weight gain doesn't happen after the first slice of pizza. It happens after Ben and Jerry. You sat there and you're like, whoa, I've got tits. Right? I was doing something on this DJI last night because I'm putting a bit of a vlog together and I could not get the angle. I was just sat in bed and I could see side boob. And I'm like, I've gained weight. I look good in the black shirt, that's why I put black on, because you can't see side boob, right? Slimming. So it doesn't happen at the end of the first day. So if we know that, and we start to change a little bit of how we speak, how we think, how we talk, how we act, how we are, and we can do that day in, day out, the changes then from a formula for success, what do we, based off of that, what should we do every single day? Right? You'd think so, but we don't. We literally, it's a few simple disciplines practiced every single day. The first day is the end of a new beginning. So if we was just today, based off of what we know, to go and do an extra 1,000 steps, we were to put down the prawn cocktail crisps, right? They're like my cruciate ligament. Luckily, we can't get them in Spain. So guess what's going back in the suitcase? Fucking loads of it, right? So if we know this and we start to look at these every single day, like just shout out things that, what would you think every day, what you could do to better yourself? Shout out, go. Read. Walk. Not piss the missus off. Good one, I like it. What else? Train. Journal. Meditate. All of this stuff we can do, and guess what it costs? Free. The stuff that is actually free to us is the most valuable stuff. Like if your house burnt down today, most of it you can replace. But all the stuff that's sentimental, that's got actual memories attached to them, you can never get back. So if we know that it all starts with how we think and how we speak, then what we say, we should focus on. So that's where trading comes down. That's why that there, what I've just shown you, is 5% of it. Because I could show you all of that and you still over leverage, you still gamble, you still over trade, you still place entries at the wrong point, you still do all of the stuff day in, day out that you shouldn't be doing. So like if we know that, then it's just this every single day. This is where handling losing streaks comes in very well. Who gets royally pissed off when we hit a stop loss? Whose head goes? Me. Because guess what you motherfuckers all do? Brad, why is it hitting stop loss? I thought as trader was really good. What's that? Yes. First one in my inbox. Every day. Right? Every day. So what do you think, from my perspective, is the longest losing streak that I've had? Longest.
2 weeks.
A week, 2 weeks? How many? 28 days? If I hadn't have had a win in between one of them, it had been quite a while. It was actually 16 days, back-to-back stop losses, 126 trades, 0 wins. When this, I couldn't think of another word for multiple. But it was a lot.
Shitloads.
Shitloads, yeah. You guys know that I swear a fair bit. This was all I used to focus on. I used to focus on the losers rather than what was winning. So then when we go back to how the charts work, and we go back to the mindset and the psychology behind placing trades, behind entering more positions, behind doing the stuff that actually works for us, this here doesn't matter. It does to how I think, it does to how I talk to myself, but in the grand scheme of things, I know based on what I've just shown you there, if I can get my risk to reward to a point where I'm risking X and I get Y, if I know it's a 3 to 1, a 4 to 1, a 5 to 1, a 10 to 1, a 15 to 1, eventually over time, statistics kick in and I win. And the reason that most people don't is because they don't stick around for 16 days. I've had people message me this morning that they're not coming because they hit 2 stop losses on Friday. They live about 4 minutes away, by the way, right? Yeah. Like people put excuses in place for reasons why it's always someone else's fault. And this is to do with life, business, relationships. Like we've all had it where we know someone who's told us something that you're like, well, it's your own fault. Yet it's the universe, plotting against them as to why they're not doing X, Y, Z. And I used to be like that. I used to be the person who's like, man, I didn't get picked for sprinting this week. I didn't get picked for my football team this week. Well, that's because I didn't go to training for 3 weeks. So why would they put me on the team? I'm unfit. I'd lost, I'd gained some weight. I wasn't as fast as I was because I hadn't been training. So why would they put me in when we're playing against Liverpool, we're playing against Man U, when we're playing against this? They wouldn't put me into that because I wasn't at the best that I could be. So if we start to go against this and we start to backtrack everything that we've ever done, everything we've ever said to ourselves, the conversations that we're having, we know that it's our fault where we are where we are. There's no reason why there's people making multiple millions per day, per week, per month, per year, and we can't get there. It's just a little barrier and blockade that we've put in our own way as to why you're not where you are. So like when we look into it a little bit further, the steps that you can actually do to handle losing streaks, like this is the hardest word. Pause. Like, I'm bad at reflecting on stuff. I can't just stop and do things because my ADHD kicks in and I'm like, why is that piece of paper being there the whole time? This one here, what? Why is that being there? That's my brain will start doing that. And I'll start thinking, well, that looks like a shithole. I'm recording here, there's a mess there. My brain doesn't actually think about the stuff that I've lost. It starts to put other hurdles in place as to why I'm not getting what I want. So we then end up not reflecting. We then end up revenge trading, placing more trades, losing more capital. So if you can do that first one, and you can pause, reflect, and avoid revenge trading, like who here is not revenge traded? A unanimous 100% everyone, right? We all have. Who are you pointing at there? Yeah. Me. Right? So like if you can get to a point with this where you don't do that, and this is all super basic, but we don't do it enough because we're not taught to think like other people. We're taught to think like the 96 to 98% of the population who are just, they're just walking around like this all day. We could go out there into the lobby now and ask every single person, why are you going to work on Monday? They wouldn't give you an answer other than to make money. Because I've got to put a roof over my head. Most people don't know why they're going through life. It's weird. But because people aren't introduced to stuff like this, they're not taught to think for themselves, they're not taught to think how we think. And again, you might be here right now thinking this is a load of codswallop, loads of waffle. But once you start to study the greats of who've actually gone out there and done this, like I hate meditating. My girlfriend will tell you this. She's like, you should meditate more. You should stretch more. That's why you've got a bad back. Yeah, I know, but I'm not gonna, right? But I know I should be doing it. It's little things, reviewing your trades. Who here, once they've lost a trade, goes back and looks at it ever? Never. A good few of you. Great, that's what you should be doing. But we don't want to do that because we've already over-leveraged on it, we've already traded, we don't need to see the reds again, right? But if we're winning, we should be analysing wins and losses. Like I used to have a trading journal, I can send you guys it, and I used to put in there, I used to put the currency pair, the time of the trades, I used to put how I was feeling, and the result. And I did that consistently for probably about 6 months. It was the longest I've ever stuck at something, right? Other than a relationship. And I was like, man, bad mood, bad mood, bad mood. Loss, loss, loss. Was pissed off, lost. Was hungry, lost. No caffeine, lost. Sat in Costa, people pissing me off. Cost money. So if you know the things day in, day out that are costing you money, when you're in a bad mood, you won't trade. When you've had an argument with someone, you won't trade. When you've had crap sleep, you won't trade. When you're tired, you won't trade. And this is all kicking in discipline. For me, I struggle heavily with that. I will still, to this day, place trades that I know I should not be placing. To this day. And then I'll go and I'll write, dickhead. Because I know I shouldn't be doing it. I do it all the time. But it's all it is me conditioning. I need to recondition myself because I've been out of the trading space, in placing my own trades, for so long that I forgot the disciplines that it actually takes to become the successful trader that I was for the first 2 or 3 years. Because I quit my job to do trading full time. As I said, I was earning 50 grand a year at work. I was director of a sound and light company, making great money for the time. And I was making that trading. So I was like, right, I'll get 6 to 12 months worth of salary behind me. I'll quit my job. Did that. And then that is what kind of spurted on the mindset of me then being able to be like, right, well, if I can do this doing this, then I just need more money. So eventually you just build your capital up and your growth goes, you get 3% a week, 5% a week, you eventually hit an absolute home run and you get a 40 to 1. And then eventually all of this starts to come into play. So if you know that you're revenge trading, you know that you're over trading, you know you're placing too many trades, you know that your mindset, your psychology, your analysis is all off, reduce your position size. Some of you are over leveraging, over trading, and you're getting so pissed off with the thing that you end up blowing your account rather than taking a little step back and be like, right, what is it that's actually affecting me? So if you can do that and you can reduce your position size, you can trade with smaller amounts until you're confident. Returns are irrelevant on this, in this part. Until you're confident with what it is that you're doing, and you're confident with placing trades, and you're confident with the stuff that you're doing for yourself, reduce your lot sizes. Like I see some of you in here with a £430 account putting 2 standard lots on. And you're like, oh, I did eight pips profit and I made 106. I'm like, fucking hell. Like, I know you did. But if it goes the wrong way, guess what you're doing? You've blown my account. I'm like, what? I haven't blown nothing. That is you placing the trades. Yes, the stop loss hit stop loss, but my apologies on that one. So if you can focus on long-term perspective versus short-term wins, the few losses don't define success. It's like anything. Like I've gone through a routine of going back into the gym again, and it's not until you see the before and after photos of 3 months that you feel any different. You're looking at yourself every day going, side boob still. Still there. This bit of belly hangs over the before you know it, like you're still in that same mindset. She tells me off all the time. I look at I'm not going to say the C word, but I always go, in the mirror. She goes, Brad, you're not. I'm like, no, I'm not. She goes, stop saying it then. And like, I'm teaching this stuff, but I'm still doing it as well. So like, I have to then revert back into my learning days, because the stuff that got me to what I'm doing now, like the goals that I used to have written out, the income that I used to go for, like I found my whiteboard in my mum's garage yesterday night. I was looking for this actually. And some of the goals that I had written on there financially, I'm like, man, I used to aim for my annual income in 6 months as a side hustle. Hit that. I was like, right, can I do it every 3 months? Yeah. Can I do that every month? Yes. Can I do it every 2 weeks? Yes. So eventually you're at a point where you're like, man, the money that I used to earn in a year period, I'm now doing that every 7 to 10 days. So then imagine the growth on the stretch of how your brain thinks when you're now understanding that, man, I can do 10x that. Because if I can earn that type of money again, so whatever I'm earning now in a year, my brain's now saying to me, you've done it before, do it again. So you then put that into the trading. If you've hit stop losses, you're going to hit them again. If you've had take profits, you can do it again. If you've doubled your account before, you can do it again. And as long as you have that long fixed term mindset in there, of the long term perspective, you'll get to a point, because the losing streak tests your mindset more than your strategy. That's why for me, when I first had them like that, honestly, like 16 days, it felt like months, eternities. Like you're placing every trade and every trade hits stop loss. Some of you won't be here for an hour, let alone 16 days. So like then that way, then training all of the psychology and the mindset, all of the things that comes with that, that is why when you look at results-orientated people versus process-orientated, results-orientated are amateurs. They focus only on the outcome. So when I said to you before, who here has lost money, who here is focused on a trade, that is typically when we lose, that's our go-to thought is, shit, we've lost money. Yes, I've won money. You don't look at it from how's my strategy? Because most of you in here haven't got a strategy yet. Most of you here are just getting started, which is fantastic because there's a lot less bad habits for you to unlearn. I find that when I'm coming into this, like I've probably coached since 2017, 4,000 plus people in trading, right? People who come in with a 10-year veteran of trading, yet they're still working a 9-to-5 job, they're still living paycheck to paycheck, they're still over their overdraft. They're the hardest people to teach, but they can tell me everything about a chart. They know every strategy, they know every EMA, all the Bollinger Bands, what every graph does, but they've got so much that they need to unlearn because they've gone to information versus inside. So the reason that they're not winning is because how they're thinking and speaking versus their charts. Because if they're stuck to chart work, they'd be billionaires. But the reason that they're not is because they're going back to, I lost a trade, I won a trade, it was a great trade. So if we look at results-orientated traders miss important learning, and they tend to be impulsive in trading. Who here would agree that they're impulsive? It's okay to be like this, by the way, because you're new. Right? You're very impulsive to trading, and you do not necessarily have that long-term mindset, even though you think you do, because you're thinking about account growth. You're thinking about making money. You're thinking about all of the stuff that comes with that. So if we know then, if we can be a process orientated, this is where professionals judge their trades by the way they made their decision. So if we know, if we adhere to our rules, that's risk, entering the trade, X, Y, Z. It's a winner, well done. It's a loser, no big deal. If you broke your rules, winner, you was lucky. Lost, it's what I deserve. And this is where you have to, in trading, take the internal route. Because if you're starting to project your losses onto me, I'm just showing you what could be taken. It's up to you as a decision maker to make that. You're an adult. I'd understand if people were 9-year-old kids and they're like, haha, yeah, let's do it. But you guys have the ability to place the trades as well. So once you start to take ownership of that trade, when it goes into profit and you're starting to feel it, and I'll share this with a meme coin, for example, right? Who here's been having a little flutter on meme coins lately? Right? Who here's made any money? Sick. If you've made money, amazing. Again, it's the same statistics in meme coins as it is in trading. 96% of people fail. So I took a meme coin, I put a little bit of money in, it got up to $2,000. We were sat playing cards, and I was like, should probably cash this out. My brain said to me, should cash it out. She looked at me and went, cash it out. I was winning at cards at the time, so I was focused on that. 15 minutes later, down at 1,500. Then it went down to 1,300. Then it went down to 1,100. And I'm sat there going, I did have $2,000. What if it goes back up? One more game of cards won't hurt. Eventually it got back up to $1,350, took it out. That there was me breaking my own rules. With crypto, with trading, I have a set thing that I'll aim for. If it 3x's my money, I'm out. Like who here, if they had their house right now and they 3x'd it in the next week, would you sell your house? Why? Why would you sell your house if it 3x from here? Right? Hell of a lot of money probably, right? If you could take 150, 200, 500, a million into 3 mil, 150, 1.5, whatever it ends up being monetary wise of your house, if you could take 150k and get 450k like that, you'd do it. But most of you aren't happy when you turn a £300 into £900 because it don't pay your mortgage yet, it don't pay the car bill yet, it don't pay this yet. So that just shows that the discipline, the psychology and the mindset that's on that is attached to financial outcome instead of the growth. Because if I said today I can give you all 300% growth on anything you give me, you'd be looking down every side of your sofa. You'd be ringing your nana, your granddad, your auntie, your uncle, brother, sister, cousin. You'd be ringing your mates who used to look after your dog. Listen, I can 3x his money. You'd be there. And that just shows this bit here. That's why the guy that I was telling you about, he took the $100 to $1 million. When he broke his rules, he's got Bugattis, Lamborghinis, G-Wagons, he's got beautiful properties. When he breaks his rules, he's got a little shitty Beetle, and he has to drive that for 24 hours.
Is that the guy on Instagram?
Yeah. It's called FX Alex G if anyone wants to check him out. Sick trader. Like, literally, he adheres to his rules, breaks his rules. But the breaking of the rules, when you go back to support and resistance, break and retest, you can see it retest, but then you've got to wait for the 10%. Most people see the break, the retest, they'll enter here, and it's just doing a new higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, so on and so on. So they end up getting stopped out, losing trades. So when you can start to do this and you can manage your emotions, like who here genuinely thinks they're an emotional trader? Who here gets like a bit antsy when they're losing trades and they start to look at the MetaTrader 4 64,000 times a day? I was that person. I literally bought an in-car thing that you could put on your dashboard so I could watch my MetaTrader when I'm driving. That was the only purpose I bought it. I had in-car sat-nav, so I didn't need it for maps. I bought it for that sole purpose. So anyone right now who's rocking around in a Tesla, it's perfect for you. Put your MetaTrader 4 on there, put TradingView on there, and you can't even crash anymore. So you can just trade away. You're sweet, right? But you're managing your emotions. And when we look at successful traders, they follow a proven process, not their emotions. So like if you know that to do X, you get Y, to do this, you get that, to do the other, you do this. Like if you embrace discipline, consistency, over impulsiveness, because all things are why people lose is emotion. It's why we do everything. Like when you look back on maybe relationships, or you look back on friendships, or you look back on certain things that have gone wrong over time, and most of it is due to heated conversations, things that go wrong. Or it's to do with money sometimes. Like a lot of relationships, they do go down because of money. People are arguing about who's paying the rent, who's paying the bills. Well, I got McDonald's yesterday. I bought Doner Meat day before. It's like, ooh, I've missed Doner Meat actually. That will end tonight. Side boob. Damn it. But like that's the thing that we do. So if we can embrace discipline, consistency over impulsiveness, and view the losses as lessons, not failures. So if just after today, you start getting to a point where every trade you take, you write it down, you journal it, you document it. And it might just be something simple in a notebook. It doesn't have to be a fancy Excel spreadsheet where you start, putting, because what will end up happening is you'll focus on your color coordination. That's what I mean. You'll end up focusing on something that isn't actually conducive to what it is you're doing it for. So if you can start to track your trades, journal a little bit more, place a little bit more emphasis on the emotion and the psychology behind why you're doing it, longer term, you will have a lot more success. And then this time when I do another event, you will come back and you'll be like, I implemented that and this happened. I implemented that and this happened. That's why I used to do these events monthly. Like I know I can see Si at the back, I can see Ben at the back, I can see James, and Scott's here as well. I think these four, maybe the only ones in the room who were here, and Pete as well, maybe 5 years ago when I was first hosting some events, unless there's anyone else. Is there anyone else here that was like 5 years ago? Didn't see you come in, lad. Nice to see you. But you have 5 or 6 people out of 5 or 6 years that are still there. Whether their results have changed, the discipline, their mindset will have over time. So now, if I can get to a point where I'm doing this more consistently again, we're hosting more events like this, we can bring people together and then start doing, that's it, that's just in Marbella next time, not in November, right? And then I can start doing more stuff like this. We can do more things and start getting workshops together. Because if we can start doing the trading journals and all of the stuff that I used to have trackers for everything. So I'd print it and I used to have a leather-bound folder and I'd just go, right, today is Monday. How am I feeling? Tired, no coffee yet, hungry, great, don't trade. It could be a sick setup. But what I end up doing then is I could enter that trade and then my emotions kick in 20 minutes later and I'm overanalyzing that trade. I'm adjusting my stop losses. I'm removing my stop losses. I'm adding 10 positions. I'm adjusting my take profits. So before you know it, I've done all the stuff that is at the top of the list that says not to do. I've almost gone blind a little bit to not read that. So all of this here, to get into a point of why mindset is 95% of trading. So when you look at trading, 5% is a strategy. It's drawing up a chart. It's putting your stop loss, your support, your resistance on. It's the super basic stuff that anyone can do. And that's why 95% of people, 96% of people fail. Because anyone can do it. Anyone can open a broker. Anyone can open MetaTrader. Anyone can press buy or sell. But if you're not emotionally disciplined or you don't have your knowledge and stuff around money, it'll humble you real quick. You'll blow 500 quid, reload. Get it to $1,000, blow it, reload. Get it to $2,000, blow it, reload. And you'll do that pattern and that cycle over and over again, and you might not necessarily get to that point where you lose the 40-odd grand or whatever amount of money is relevant to you. For me, it was 40-odd grand. I lost that in 2 hours. That literally made me sit and think, what am I doing? I'd taken months. At the beginning, the first month was discipline. 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, 1 to 5s, documenting, journaling. I can't find the paperwork for them 2 weeks where I started over leveraging, started gambling, started trading too much, started placing too many trades, because it was almost like it wasn't me. The greedy version of me kicked back in and was like, you do realise you could earn like 100 grand right now. If this just goes to take profit one and does a 1-to-1, 1% risk, 100%, and get 100% growth, that's 90 grand. Do it. No, you shouldn't do that, Brad. You're putting the coordinates in. Sell. Going against me, sell. Going against me, sell. This is on Dow Jones. Sell, 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 sell. I remember I was with a guy called Rory Gray, and he was like, mate, you're going to be present with us. I was having lunch at the beginning of this. This is when the trade started. So, trade started. Sell, 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 sell. I forgot it was Friday evening. So what happens on a Friday night? Markets close. At that point, I was already minus 20-something grand out of a 40k account. Can you imagine my mindset for 2 days? I didn't want to speak to anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone. My mum was pissing me off. She never does. This time she was. Asking me, do you want a cup of tea? No, Mum. Do you want dinner? No. I split up my ex at the time. This. It's like everything was frustrating me. Monday, market opened, it jumped. Dow Jones was at all-time high. I never traded Dow Jones before that, ever. I went through my whole history of like literally months and months and months and months and months of trading history. I'd never traded that pair. But I remember seeing it on someone's story saying they'd made good money. I was like, yeah, greed. Let's do it. If they can make money, so can I. Sell, 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 sell. I think I had at one point 119 positions open. So, logic there in me was like, right, it's already going the wrong way. I'm at minus 42k now. I think I was close to getting margin called, let's put it that way. So then I just did this. I was on MetaTrader, so it's called Web Trader on Vantage. I deleted it off my phone to not place any more trades. Just did this. That's me manually closing all the trades, by the way. So I'm like, I might as well keep a little bit of money to one side so I can rebuild again. I only put 500 quid in, so I'm technically up 1,500 quid. That's how my brain works. Manually closed every single position, 42,000 and something gone. I went to the toilet. If I'd have waited 7 minutes, 7. If I'd have took that crisp sandwich that my mum offered me, cheese and onion, I'd have made £374,000. 7 minutes. It fell 1,000 points from news. 1,000 pips. I came back and I was like, my mum came and said, you sure you're not hungry? I was like, Mum, I've just blew 42,000. She went, yeah, but it's only play money, innit? I was like, nope. She's like, yeah, you'll get it back. Don't work like that, Mum. Can't just ring Vantage and be like, hi, I made an emotionally rational decision and blew all my money. Literally 300, I think it was like 375 grand. If I'd have just spent a bit more time either in the toilet or took the crisp sandwich. So this just shows like there, I was sick, honestly, I was sick as a dog for like, probably about 2 or 3 weeks. Like I'm not one to have like negative thoughts and I'm just like, what am I doing in my life? Split up, like I've got living at my mum's. God, life's over. Just blown 40 grand. But then I started listening to Bob Proctor and stuff and I was like, right, that was my cruciate ligament, if you will. That was my trigger that made me realize that what I was doing, I wasn't taking seriously. I took it seriously at the beginning to quit my job because there was a means to an end. Whereas then, because I've quit my job, I'm like, well, there isn't really much else to aim for. I've quit my job. I hated that anyway. So now, all of the little stuff that you're doing day in, day out, week in, week out, if you know that you're doing that for the wrong reasons, you're trading for the wrong reasons, you're placing trades, for all the other stuff, it'll get to a point, because markets do not care about your emotions. Because if they did, they wouldn't have let me close them trades. or place them in the first place. They wouldn't. They wouldn't let me do that. And your emotions dictate your decision. So that's why for me, and I talk about this heavily, and I think we spoke about it outside, like when you start to go through like the growth or the out of the caterpillar phase, if you will, or come out of the cocoon, and you start to look at stuff like this and you start to grow, you start to study mindset a little bit more, your psychology, how you think, your brain, all that other stuff. The people around you, they might not necessarily be there in 6 to 12 months' time. And I say this with the greatest respect that like some of the closest lads that I grew up with, I sat next to in school, I played sports with, they were my best friend since I was kids. I don't speak to none of them. Like anyone in here who's successful, who can relate, like who's got a business that when eventually you start doing well, the closest ones to you slowly start to change a little bit. They start to speak a little bit differently about you, you know? Then my name's in their mouth a little bit more than it should be. And all that is that's just the universe's way of saying to you, but most people don't realize that until it's too late. They don't realize that till they're at the grave point. Like, man, that person probably wasn't that good for me over the last 70 years, but you stuck around anyway. So for me, I had to realize really quickly, who do I want to be around? And I don't want to be around people talking about people. I want to be around people who are talking about growth, money, mindset. That's why for me, when I moved to Marbella, guess what happened to my business? Guess what happened to my lifestyle? Everything that I'd been asking for came in, right? That's how me and her met. The day she landed, I was like, hi, you're not leaving now. And then 3 months later, we did a mushroom trip together. That was it. I do love a good mushroom trip. But like that's the thing, when you start to look at and write down what it is that you're looking for, what it is you want, what your goals are, if you're not congruent with what you say, that's why I say like, don't listen to what I say, watch my feet. Let me show you what I'm going to do, rather than me telling you. Because who here had someone that was coming today that didn't show up? That's got a friend that was going to come, that has this, that and the other. Like, I've got so many people who've chat shit on a morning, like, because they couldn't be here because of X, Y, Z. And what you will slowly see over time is that when you start to go towards what you want, it's almost like crabs in a bucket. If you've ever seen, and it's weird to say, but like Google crabs in a bucket. When crabs start to try and leave, their mates are like, no, don't leave. You've been with us all your whole life. You're not going to be better than us. And it's that mentality. And I had to remove myself out of that. And I tried year after year, year after year, year after year. I didn't bring them. And I had something that when like for those of you who don't know, I was coached by Bob Proctor for 6 years before he passed away. So when I first met him, this is how simple it was. If I was to come to your house right now, who would be able to show me where they're going to be in 12 months' time? Okay, 2 people. And what I mean by that is like most people, if we understand our 5 senses, we understand how we think, we understand that we see things, when you start to understand that like your environment is so key. So if you come into, your table's a mess, your bed's a mess, your kitchen's a shithole, your living room's this, how do you think this is going to be? Messy. So then when you start to scrape everything back and you start to look at like, right, what am I seeing day in, day out? I used to drive a 3 Series BMW. My goal was a Lamborghini Aventador in baby blue. When I pulled down my sun visor, guess what I saw? The Lambo, right? When I used to have where the clock was, my Lamborghini picture was there. It's on the back of my phone. It's everywhere. So when you come to my house, what he said to me was, will I see where you're going to be? And how I got involved in that was, it was by sheer coincidence. I was with a network marketing company. You had to be earning $250,000 a month to be in the room. And my mentor at the time was doing $750,000 to $1 million a month. He was like, listen, there's an event here tonight at this place. Come dress well, but you cannot stay for the dinner. And I was like, fuck, why not? He's like, you're a brokey. Like, why would you be in the room? You're making no money. Like, it's $250,000 a month plus. You're not making anywhere near that. So I was like, right. Literally, I went and bought a suit because it was a nighttime event. I was like, right, fuck it, I'm gonna go nicely dressed. I went in there, everyone was sharp, so I'm glad I did. And he came in, we were all sat like having probably a small room in a restaurant, and there were 26 of us, and they were like, right, he'll be here soon anyway. So I was like, oh, man, I don't want to leave before anything happens, because if I can just get to see him, shake his hand, I don't know, give him a cuddle, kick him in his shin, whatever it was, I don't know, I wanted to do something. And he came and just sat down, and it was almost like, do you know when someone's walking towards you? In my head it was going, oh, because like I'd studied this guy for ages, and I was like, man, like I'm now gonna sit. I could spit on him if I wanted to, he's that close. And he came in and he just sat down. I was like, I'm not leaving. Like, I am not leaving. Anyone seen Wolf of Wall Street? I'm not fucking leaving. And then I just sat there, and he started talking about something. He went, if I was to come to your house today, would I see where you're gonna be in 12 months' time? I went, probably not, no. I don't know why that came out of my mouth. And he just went, why? I went, well, you'll see my current house, my current environment, where I live, and what I currently do. I went, why didn't you change that? And my instinct reaction was to say, I don't have enough money. And I was just like, well, I suppose I can. He's like, well, that's why you're not making no money, because you suppose. He's like, go out and print pictures of everything that you want to achieve and put it in front of you where you are spending most of your time. So I went away, I printed 26 photos, and they literally were so simple that I put them, and this is going to sound really, really weird, I put them on the roof of my ceiling where my bed was. So it was the first thing that I saw when I woke up. I put it behind my door, because my door was always shut. I put it where I brushed my teeth. I put it where I made my coffees. I put it in the shower area. I put it in the toilet. I put it here, I put it there, all around my office. It was on my desk, it was on my car, it was on the back of my phone, it was everywhere. 92 days went by, my business grew by 900%. Nearly 1,000% growth in 90 days. When I'm telling you nothing changed, nothing changed. My output was the same. I was still going and speaking to people in Tesco's at 11:49 at night because I'd not spoken to 10 random new strangers. I missed that bit out, didn't I? Some of you were like, well, how did you build a customer base of 18,000 people? I was the weirdo at 10:50 at night looking at you buying coffee or milk. Because I was selling a gourmet coffee business at the time. Do you drink coffee? They were like, yeah, why? Did you take it with milk or sugar? Milk. This has got milk and sugar in. They were like, I do that every day. 10 people. And yes, it was weird to do, but it broke my barrier of certain things. So the stuff that I was doing, I just became a lot more confident in doing it because I wasn't bothered about the result, because I knew the stuff that I had written down in front of me was going to happen anyway. So that's why when I said to some of you guys, like, and I'd be curious, who was on the call where I talked about doing 500 goals?
Yeah.
Who can show me 500 goals today?
No.
None of you, right? Because you don't, like, it's not that you don't action it, but it's the 500 goals is a mountain of a task. Because you can do 100, maybe 110, 115, 120, and you're like, wow, what do I want? I want a Sunseeker 63 in white, black, green, yellow, blue. That's a boat. I want a Lamborghini Aventador in white, black, blue, green, yellow. That's 6 at a time. And I realized all of the stuff that I was writing down at the beginning was materialistic. It was things that would make me feel better about how others perceive me. And I don't need a Lamborghini, a Rollie, to make myself feel good. So like, if you can understand that that's why all of the stuff that I talk about in this, and mindset and psychology, I'm going to dig back into some of all the Bob Proctor stuff afterwards, but without a strong mindset, strategies fail, relationships fail, businesses fail. Everything will fail unless you can get your own internal system on point. So when we look at this here, I'm going to go back into a lot more stuff afterwards, but the food is out. Vamos.